There it is.
Welcome. Oh, yeah, don't forget to record. I should hit that button too.
That's a good button to
Uh,
hit.
button. Welcome to Section 31, episode number 352. I'm Dan Hammond.
And I am Rogue Schindler.
This week, we're going to get caught up on our television viewing. So, Rogue got caught up through episode 10 of Orville Firestorm, and we're both caught up as far as you can get on Discovery. I suppose without going into comics and various other books and things like that. Have you looked at
Sure.
any expanded universe?
No,
Stuff?
is there any?
I've seen a lot of comics come through on my news feed. I want to say at least uh, there's at least one or two kind of not background, but just expanded stories.
Sure.
Of the random characters, random Klingons, things like that. Side adventures. Kind I'm going to make judgments solely based on the cover of the comics. It reminds me a lot of the. You remember the audio records that we listened to for
Uh,
the TOS?
yes, how could I forget?
Little side jags like that is what the covers remind me of. But I'm sure they're, you
All
know,
right.
better.
Just little things like with the characters. All right. Yeah, I don't really feel the need to. I enjoy Discovery, but I'm not. Uh, it's not something I need to go out in search of. I think. Um, I don't know. We've kind of hinted at it over the course of a couple of episodes, but so that last one, they really jump.
Yeah. They're in a they're in wreckage and they don't know where they are and they don't know when they are.
And there's a lot of, and I mean, they telegraph it a lot. So I'm wondering if it's actually the case because it would be better if they, pulled the double switch. But it really feels like, the captain. This was not a surprise to him, at
Right.
least.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be doing this one jump home rather than traveling at warp just to get the crew to safety, and then they show up somewhere and I don't know. He looks really. I don't want to say overtly sinister, but it's very yes, we're just doing this because you're a hero and we're all heroes and we're just going home. Wink. You know.
Where he's going to lose his ship, right? He's going to lose his command
Uh,
probably because
um,
the
yeah. He
admiral's back and she's going to
well.
probably tell on him, right?
And that aside, he just disobeyed direct orders from Admiral Vulcan guy uh,
Yeah.
to come home instead of going back to that planet with the giant crystal uh, transmitter thing. At which you roll your eyes. Is
Yeah,
that
giant
that
crystal transmitter thing. The
is that
thing
a
that will
sciencey eye roll?
no, I mean it's big science, a big crystal transmitter thing that will render the Klingon cloak ineffective. Like right around the planet or everywhere.
I got the impression that it was like ultra sensitive. So I thought they were going to use it like a scanner, like it was going to be able to figure out the frequency, like some kind of frequency they're cloaked at, so that they would be able to then, once they knew that, go off and use that with their own sensors. That was my
Okay.
take, but I could be wrong. But yeah, it was a little hand wavy how that was going to be the magical, this is going to end the war scenario. But that made it, for whatever reason, crucial to defend from the Klingons. So they
Well,
stuck around.
no, not crucial to defend from the Klingons. Crucial to defend from that one Klingon ship. And once that was blown up, they can go home because apparently none of the other Klingons are going to go attack it.
That is true. They did say it sent out a signal solely on the Federation and Klingon Empire frequencies because apparently they only use one frequency per Empire and Federation. And also, that's the only ship that got that message, even though it was sent out to all the Klingons everywhere on the one Klingon frequency that they only use ever. Maybe subspace is new at that point. They're not sure how that works. They're like, okay,
there's
well,
only
we have,
ABC, CBS, and
yeah,
NBC, so there's only 3 channels plus maybe PBS. They've only got 4. The Romulans are using 1.
yeah, you got to stay
Frankie
off
Bottom's using
that.
1. Yeah.
You can use
Uh,
PBS, but you got to pay. You gotta donate to the Ferengi.
they keep hitting you up.
we've we've interrupted your transmission to let you know it's time for our donation drive.
You get a handbag.
To continue your message, dial this number.
Got a tote bag and a mug. All right. Well, anyway, they actually got a Frankie mug in the cabinet over there. So they jump back. They as you said, there's been mirror hints. It flipped sideways, kind of like the flashing Enterprise's left right when they went to the Mirror universe. From Mirror the episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This is bloop, left and right. And back when Mushroom Man, what was his name?
Stamets.
When Stan first got his mushroom powers, there was that at the very end of that episode. He was staring at the mirror, he turned and walked away, and then his reflection lingered for a second and then turned and walked away.
That right? Yeah. And they still haven't really touched on that aside from he's experiencing weird side effects.
I just thought it was, hey, get ready for something about the mirror, right? That was all.
That seems extreme to do that. Like, I don't know, that Star Trek is usually relatively hard with the science fiction. Giant crystal transmitter aside, they at least try to explain things.
Yeah,
they did a good job. There was nothing.
They did a reasonably good job with we got these 2 transmitters. We got to put one at the front of the ship and one at the back of the ship, and we're going to jump around and triangulate and figure things out. That was interesting. I kind of followed that. While perhaps not really, it made enough sense for that I was able to buy it and just go from there, right?
Yeah, it goes by fast enough that it was like, okay, that's cool. Like, that makes enough basic sense that if you throw in some, it's the future and they have technology we don't understand, that you're like, okay, yeah, cool.
I mean, maybe don't make the thing that they have to leave behind a giant, trash can thing that beeps and blinks and make lights, and is obviously not supposed to be there
in the middle of the corridor
or the bridge.
Or the bridge. I was like, that's really big, and they're not like gonna put it in a locker or
put duct tape over the lights, like a VCR.
Sure, yeah.
Electrical tape over the
maybe no, that's gonna block the transmission.
Sure.
Get in the way of that. That's blinking for a reason.
But no, I like that she grabbed the comm badge, not the comm badge. It'll be comm badge in the future. The insignia badge that he was using to pick his teeth. That was awesome.
Man,
to grab that back.
I like that the back of it is dog tags. That was a cool touch.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever seen that before. That's interesting.
No, that was a nice idea to very much clearly make it hers.
And I don't remember anything that would contradict that as being true for the rest of the series, right?
No. I mean aside from it being sewn into the uniform, in 10 years.
Yeah. I saw someone, maybe it was a post on the boards, that said the production value is so far beyond TOS that there's nothing that they can do to make it look that bad, right? That it has to evolve into that. So just forget it. Just imagine the TOS had their production value, and it would be close to the same thing. They could be stepping into it.
Yeah, I agree. And like I mentioned before, I like to think of it as, don't think of it as flowing into TOS as so much as flowing out of Enterprise.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I can totally see this being an aesthetic that evolved from that ship and could eventually end up as Next Generation. And, it's been 50 years. Get over it,
Yeah, very good. Any so we're obviously making prediction that they're in either the mirror universe or, as someone said, maybe they're out of the mirror universe, which would be weird. Um,
Yeah,
I,
they're
I,
all mirror universe. Um, yeah, that would. I think that would be extreme even for what we're seeing. I don't think that would be brave enough to do something crazy like that. Um, Jumping to the mirror universe could be cool. I just hope it's not a oh no, okay, we're going to spend an episode getting back and that's it. You know, I hope they actually delve into it a little bit if that's going to be the big cliffhanger. And we get to really see why they're there and how it ties in. You know, is Lorca from the mirror universe? Is that why he said home? So, I mean, that would be cool. I don't have any real predictions because I don't know. If I was Star Trek wise, if I was going to make an actual prediction, it would be kind of safe and a little boring, and you know everything's going to reset. But I'm hoping they're not going to do that. They're kind of being pretty good about making a little departure. You know, if it is mirror universe, I really hope we get to see some of, you know, when did Lorca, you know, is Lorca a replacement? How long has he been a replacement? You know, did he come over in the explosion? Has he always been there? You know, is he just, you know, they switched a long, long time ago and he's just been making his way through the ranks?
it would be interesting if, all of his experiments, all the things that he's been doing all this time was just to figure out how to get back.
Yeah.
If that's the case, what is he doing now? Also, I think I remember in the Starfleet, in the Enterprise mirror episode, didn't did the Doctor have a tribble that he was working on? Sick
I
bay?
think so. He definitely had a bunch of animals that he was
Right.
torturing.
And Captain has had this tribble in his office the whole time. Clearly, mirror
Yeah.
universe tribble.
Oh man,
Now I want a
read,
mirror
read
universe tribble. A
with a
one tribble
goatee.
with with a mirror icon that just does something the opposite.
You can play
Unstoppable personnel must return for
one
animal.
100,000 is your next.
Yes. I was thinking about an actual 1E tribble and not a
Oh,
tribble tribble.
okay,
But yeah,
sure.
that's awesome.
In the opposite quadrant.
When are we getting back into Discovery? Is it January?
I believe it's mid-January, so not too long. Not long enough to really get an appreciation of canceling your subscription and then re-upping, as I understand it. Um,
Yeah, I mean mine ran out last weekend, so I got to see everything. If I do the same thing and I wait a month or so, uh, I should be able to watch all the episodes for the second half of the season in a month time span, or just pay $20 and watch them all. I guess over the course of 2 months.
yeah, I definitely have some fun ideas to integrate to make cards. Like I think that there's a lot of fun material in there. I love the idea of the spore drive that just uses all its range and goes to another mission.
Just
Like
pop out
not
somewhere else.
linearly, just like, all right, I'm gonna turn my ship over and I'm gonna turn it back over. You know, 6 missions down the line, my range is used.
There's a new Magic set that's coming out in a couple of days. They've spoiled it. Most of it's been spoiled already, and it's an unset, which means it's kind of like their I don't want to say April Fools, but it's all silly, ridiculous stuff, right? Uh,
Yeah,
there
yeah.
there is a card that has it's a card that says it has flying as long as you're holding it hovering over the table. So if you put it down, it doesn't have flying anymore. That's exactly what I thought of when you said your ship flips over here and then you flip it back over here. Physically turn the ship over there and then turn it back over on that side. Uh, that's how the continuing committee gets away with Discovery cards. They're all ridiculous.
Unglued.
Yeah, yes.
Oh
Uh,
man.
Unbeamed,
Un-
unmaterialized.
oh wow, yeah, dematerialized.
Yes, exactly.
Uh,
All right. Well, uh, there is we got a while to wait before more Discovery comes in. However, the other Star Trek show that's on right now, the
yeah,
Orville, is still putting out new episodes. We're both caught up to episode 10, and the 11th just came out last Thursday, and I don't think either of us have watched it, right?
not yet.
All right, so we'll talk about New Dimensions on a future time. But there's been a couple of really good episodes since we talked last.
Yeah, well, I think we actually talked about the last time we talked about it. We talked about the one before that, Cupid's arrow, Cupid's
Okay.
dagger.
Yeah.
So Firestorm is really the only one we haven't talked about. Very man, you want to talk about a TNG episode?
I,
Uh,
right out of the
the
holodeck gone berserk, if to spoil the end, right?
yeah, I
But but a good
yeah,
twist on the broken holodeck, because it wasn't broken. It was the person who was broken, more or less.
exactly. Um, I know I had mixed feelings about this episode. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I didn't have any problems with it, but it was. I felt like it was very. I'm starting to get what some people are talking about, where it's very derivative. Like some of the ideas are in the theme of TNG and just put in that, but this one was very like it felt half where no one has gone before and half remember me with the Crusher stuck in the static warp bubble. And then at the end, and then there's the umpteen holodeck episodes. I did not consider the holodeck as a cause for this one, so that was cool. And it did have its own take that it was a simulation. She did it herself. I liked that. I like what they did with it, but thinking about that and thinking about we had talked about making dream cards for the shows we were watching, and I couldn't really think of anything interesting aside from like maybe a couple dilemmas from because there's new material story wise, but as a new Star Trek show, it doesn't really bring anything new Star Trek to the table. It really is a hey, look, we really love Next Generation, and we really want to keep telling stories like Next Generation, so we're just gonna kind of keep doing like a knockoff Next Generation.
Sure. I think there was an episode a couple of back, Priya. Actually, it was one directed by Jonathan Frakes, where
Yep.
that lady comes into the past to collect the ship to sell it
Yeah.
as a relic in the future. I thought that was an interesting, a new kind of take on a weird sci-fi story. Um, I, I have to say, I really liked seeing her mother and father, played by Robert Picardo, and um, that was
Yeah.
that was perfect. I mean, just the fact that that guy came back for another Star Trek series
Yeah.
that was hilarious.
As soon as I saw his name in the credits, I looked at Caitlin and I was like, "It begins.
Yep.
This is it."
I
Yep.
hope they bring him back again, because that was
Um,
hilarious.
and speaking of that scene,
Yeah.
that was probably the most interesting thing about this episode to me. Not because of the guest star, but although I was entertaining, but talk about a kind of a throwaway line that adds a really significant level of depth to a character. But talking about Alara as being, how'd they put it, intellectually deficient. Like she is apparently from, not only is this race from a planet where the gravity is super high, so they all have super strength. It's not super to them. It's just, their average strength, but compared to humans and other Union average species, it's really high. But apparently they're also super smart. And being of average human intelligence makes her like not just not smart, but like they're what I don't know, really low IQ, intellectually deficient. How is that? Is that a jock, or is that learning disabilities? So to throw that in and have her, it's like this is why she ran, left them and came off to be part of the Union, where she is more accepted for not going to university and getting 18 graduate degrees or whatever.
Yeah, worshipfully special, right?
Yeah, it was a really cool. That added a lot of depth to her character. In an episode that was already really strongly about her character.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, start to finish, really, because I didn't. As soon as that when the scary clown showed up, I laughed because that was perfect. And then they went to the security tapes. All right, okay, we'll find out that she's just going crazy. And the scary clown was there. I'm like, all right, that's new.
What? That was a nice twist too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then when the guy got eaten by it continually got worse and worse, right? Until but not all at once. So it was enough to just say, okay, now we're going to push it a little bit this way. Now you push it a little this way. I never felt like, okay, this is clearly a simulation, because it was incremental in its in the way that the crazy was getting amplified.
Yeah. And that was a nice thing about, it was thematically like a little bit of this episode, a little bit of that episode, but it was kind of aware of it. So when you got to the point where, oh, okay, what they're believing or what they're afraid of is coming true, or what they're thinking of at the moment is coming true, that the nice homage to AU Door with Kelly walking through indoor quarters and falling into space. But as soon as you think like, oh, he's talking about they didn't talk about the spiders. They were talking about something else, and that's going to show up. And oh, who was thinking about spiders? No, they didn't do that. They kept left turning on what you would expect from those. So that was really cool to keep it fresh. I really enjoyed the episode.
I will take an AI for alternate universe door now. Thank you very much. Perfect.
There you go. That's great. That's what it is. We don't need any new cards. We just need AI cards.
Yes.
That was awesome.
Perfect. All right.
Totally
we've got 2 episodes to watch. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've got 2 episodes to watch before next week. We've got last Thursdays and this Thursday, so I'm looking forward to both of them, honestly.
Got some AIs for the clown dilemmas.
Oh, creepy. Yes.
Oh man. All right. Dilemma set. Orville AI dilemmas. That's awesome. Throwing an AU door. Yeah. All right. I'm looking forward to some new dimensions. New dimensions. Is that right?
Yeah. New dimensions.
Yeah. And hey, if you need something else sci-fi to watch next week, you can always go see that movie. There's some new movie coming out, I hear, from another Star property.
My goodness, is that a week? Is that this Friday? No,
that is a week from Thursday, Friday, I guess.
Yeah, I'll be. So we could talk about that too.
So yeah, not next week, but the week after, we will. We can talk about that. And I don't feel like that's. I feel like our demographic, our target audience, or our audience, as they are, because I don't think we have a target really behind them, is that's going to be a first weekend discussion. I don't think we need to wait a week to let people catch up. I think the people who are going to want to see it will have seen it by then.
Yeah, and the people who will, stand by their decision not to watch it won't care anyway. So
exactly, they're probably not listening to us anyway. All right. Well, I'm going to, I don't know, kind of on the fence. I'm thinking about going back and watching another Orville episode now. So we might do that. In the meantime, I think that's all the intelligence we have for this week. I am Sir Rogue.
And I'm Sir Dan.
And I will remind you all to expand your power in the planetary union.
And we'll draw to end.